said that the first one was GCF, but what is the GCF? 5. What else? N. And then when you take out the 5n, what's left over? N minus just 5. Because you already took the n out, right? Okay. All right, the second one, we said it was one of the x problems. It is not a slide divide. It's just one of the regular ones. So we're multiplying to a negative 42 and adding to a positive 1. And what are the numbers that would do that? 7 and negative 6. So it should be v plus 7, v minus 6, or you could reverse those. Either way is fine. All right, we said that the third one was also an x problem, but this one would be a slide divide problem. And this one, I'm definitely going to need a calculator for. So 6 times 28 is what? 168. So we're multiplying to 168, but adding to 31. Did we find those numbers? 7 and 24. Okay. So x plus 7, x plus 24. And then what do we do from there? Divide by 6. So the number you slid over was a 6. So the number you have to divide by is a 6. And then what should we do? Bottoms up over here, and then this one simplifies, right? So what is the simplifying for this one? 4. So x plus 4, and then what is the other one? 6x plus 7. Okay. Fourth one. This one's just a regular x problem. We're looking for two numbers that multiply to negative 30, but add to negative 7. Negative 10 and 3. So r minus 10, r plus 3. Okay. And then last, 2x squared plus 18x. Take out a 2x. Okay, and then what was the leftovers? X plus 9. Okay. Once you gave yourself some time and had a few hints, were you able to kind of remember how to do these? It just took a little bit. Okay. That's generally true with factoring. You'll think that it's completely gone out of your head. And then if you look back at notes or somebody gives you a hint or whatever, it'll come back. So try not to just shut down and say, oh, I don't remember this, because you do. It's there. If it made sense the first time, it's there in your brain. You just have to access it. Does that make sense? Okay. A lot of students are pretty resistant to factoring. And so when it comes around, you'll immediately panic. And when you panic, your brain will just lock it out to like kind of protect yourself. But you can get there. You just have to calm your brain down and let your brain get to it. Okay, let's make sure that we can solve some. So what's the difference with solving as opposed to just factoring? You have to say what x equals, and then what are you going to see in the problem that's going to be a little bit different? You're going to see an equal sign, so that's going to make a difference for what you're able to do, and it's going to make a difference for how your answer looks. Okay, so let's get to some more. So you're not going to turn this paper in, because the paper that we've been working on is a worksheet instead of notebook paper. So these could, you could go back to your notes that we did on Thursday, or you could start a new page of notes. It's going to be up to you, but we're going to do some more solving. And we're going to use the method of factoring to solve. And we're just going to make sure that we still remember this from last week. You can do it on the same page, or you could do a new page. It's up to you. And then once we have made sure that we still remember what we're doing, then we'll go through and we'll finish that worksheet from last time. Okay, x squared equals negative 7x. Are these allowed to equal negative 7x when I'm solving? No. What are they supposed to equal? 0. So how do I make this equal 0? Add the 7x over. Yeah, because I always want to keep the x squared term positive. So x squared plus 7x equals 0. And then at this point, what type of factoring problem is this? It's not a slide because the x squared is all alone. It's a GCF. I see lots of earbuds, and we shouldn't have any earbuds at this point. All of them should be gone. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, it's a GCF problem. I can tell that it's not one of the X problems, slide divide or not. It's not a simple one. It's not a slide divide one. I can tell because this only has 2 terms, not 3. Does that make sense? Only 2 terms, not 3. Okay, so what type of problem did we say? GCF, and what is the GCF? X. Okay, so I'm going to take the X out and leave space for my leftovers. And what are my leftovers? X plus 7. Okay. What's the solution for the x in the front? 0. And then what's the solution for the parentheses? Negative 7. Okay. All right, 5x squared equals 11x minus 2. Yeah, so what should I do? So I have to move the 11x and the 2. Why should I not move the 5x? I want to keep the 5x squared positive because I'm lazy, and it's easier to do the problem when the x squared term is positive. So we have 5x squared, and then minus 11x, and then positive 2 equals 0. This problem has 3 terms, and the x squared has a 5 with it. So it's a slide divide. So the fact that it has 3 terms tells me it's one of those x problems. The fact that the x squared, the first term, has a number with it that is not a GCF, that's what told me it was a slide divide. Okay, so I slide the 5, and what do I get? 10. 5 times 2 is 10. So I'm multiplying to 10 and adding to a negative 11. Negative 10, negative 1. X minus 10, x minus 1. And then what should I do? Divide by 5. X minus 2. And bottoms up for 5x minus 1. Okay. So the first solution is not negative 2, positive 2. We do the opposite sign. Okay. And then the second solution is positive 1/5. Not quite as easy to see here. It's a little bit easier to see that solution up here. Positive 1/5. 2 and 1/5. Okay. Okay, let's do one more. And then we'll work on the worksheets from last time. So here's this one. 7x squared plus 6x plus 14 equals negative 3x plus 6x squared. Okay, add the 3x. So what do we end up with? And what kind of problem is this? Is it GCF? It's just an X problem. How do you know it is not slide divide? The X squared is by itself. There's no number that we can pull out. Yep, there's no number in the front. Okay. So we are multiplying to what, adding to what? Multiplying to 14, adding to 9. 7 and 2. X plus 7, x plus 2. Okay, and what are the numbers that do that? What are our solutions? Perfect. Okay, so go ahead and work on the back side of the worksheet. And then when you guys get that finished, you can turn the worksheet in. Sound good? The punchlines on the front of the worksheet didn't really make sense to me and were particularly funny. I'm hoping the punchline on the back side is actually good. Apologies, but the problems were good, so So because you have a positive 6, because your 6 is positive, you're using this one. But if your 6 had been negative, then you would be using opposite signs.
Okay.
So it's all based off the sign of the number.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, so that would be the answer for this one, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it says 1 and negative 7 for this.
That's because when you factor, you would write your factors x plus 7. Sorry, y plus 7. Y minus 1. Those are your factors. But then when you actually go to solve them, you would say y equals negative 7, y equals positive 1. Because when you solve